In tonight's WCTS episode, Sonny Garrison broke out of prison. Bill partly blames himself for it. He visited the head of the Garrison gang while he was locked up, and he basically told Sonny that someone stole his loot. Everyone then came to believe that Sonny broke out of prison to get his precious coins back. There was a bunch of rare gold coins that were stolen during a train robbery. It was believed Sonny and his people were behind it, only there was no solid evidence to prove it. Bill baited Sonny because he wanted to see if Sonny would take credit for the theft. And Sonny outsmarted him by already having people in Hope Valley. Sonny didn't break out on a whim. He was planning this breakout for weeks. He has a cousin. This cousin went to Hope Valley, and he pretended to be interested in nature. Really, he was looking for the coins. Sonny hid them. Someone found them and someone was spending them. The first thing Sonny needed to know was if there were any gold coins left where he hid them. His cousin wasn't much help with that because he doesn't know those woods. Sonny also doesn't remember the exact spot where he hid the gold coins. The one thing he has is a map. A very outdated map. The men needed help with their search. Woody unfortunately remembered that Ali and Oliver have been surveying the area for their schoolwork. He later approached the kids asking for help. He claimed that his parents wrote their initials on a tree when they first met. He showed them the map, and he said X marks the spot where the tree was. He told the kids that he just needed their help to navigate the woods. Oliver suspected right away that something was off about the guy. He only went with them because Woody had already convinced Ali. Ali thought it was so sweet to help someone find a tree dedicated to two lovers. Her optimism led her and Oliver out into the woods with Woody, who was joined by Sonny. The men had guns. They were far away from town. There wasn't anyone who thought they were in danger. Woody at least tried to back out of kidnapping the kids when he heard Oliver was a Mountie cadet. It was Sonny that said they went too far to turn back now. Sonny forced those kids to find his loot for him, and back in town, Elizabeth and Rosemary were focused on finding out the truth about Ava. Ava wasn't the heiress she pretended to be. She was once the assistant to Clive Maxwell. He was a famous mentalist that Ava knew was a fake. She'd help him find marks in the crowd. She'd get all the answers from them. Then Clive would pretend to hear from their family members that have passed. It was all a con. One that Clive escalated into outright robbery. The man they robbed on stage was Pinkerton. They were investigated, and Clive blamed Ava for the robbery. She went on the run to avoid getting arrested and sent to prison. Ava apologized to Mike and Lee. She never meant to take advantage of them. She promised she'll pay them back. She also took some advice from Elizabeth and Rosemary. They advised her to turn herself in with the Pinkertons. She couldn't clear her name if she remains on the run. By coming forward, she at least forced Clive to defend himself as well. Elizabeth gave Ava a lot to think about. The women were still talking when someone mentioned that Ali went into the woods with Oliver and the new guy in town. It was only when someone mentioned the new guy's naming being Garrison that everyone panicked. They thought Woody Garrison was connected to Sonny Garrison. They all rode out into the woods. Henry ran into the Mounties. They were searching the Martel Ranch because they thought Sonny would head there. It turns out Sonny hid his loot in the opposite direction. Henry and the Mounties caught up to Sonny and Woody before they could hurt the children of Elizabeth, who found them first. And it's a good thing they arrived in time. Someone really did steal Sonny's loot. He found the gold chest, and it was empty. Sonny figured someone double-crossed him. He just didn't know who. It was either Woody, the cousin, or Jake, the brother. Jake was the one to bury the treasure. He gave the map of its location to Woody. Why the man could have dug up the treasure when Sonny was sent to prison. Sonny didn't know who betrayed him, and he was getting riled up when he thankfully got arrested again. Him being locked away also made for great news for Rosemary's radio program. The governor also came to a decision about the national park. He was going to write an executive order. He spoke to Henry earlier. Henry helped him see that he either chooses the park or he chooses his governorship. Lucas chose the park. He was going to write the executive order to create a large national park. He was all but declaring war on the Cattlemen Association. It's why he told Edie Martel in person what he was going to do. As a lawyer for the other side, she was upset. As his friend, she hopes this have grown close over the past few months. There might even be a future for them if this executive order doesn't tear them apart. Angela also checked out that special school for the blind. The school was amazing. Her parents loved the place, and it was just Angela that was worried about leaving home. She was worried that she wasn't ready to be without her parents. Yet, her parents knew she was far more capable than she gave herself credit for. Angela was going to flourish at the new school. Then there was Ava. She has a bright future as an actress. She just needed to testify against her old boss, and the Mounties helped clear the way with the Pinkertons. In tonight's reverting episode of When Calls the Heart, the sleepy town of Hope Valley was thrown into chaos as notorious criminal Sonny Garrison orchestrated a daring prison breakout. The escape sent shockwaves through the community, with local lawman Bill Avery bearing the weight of guilt. Bill's involvement stemmed from a risky gambit. He had visited Sonny, the cunning leader of the Garrison gang, behind bars. During their tense exchange, Bill dropped a tantalizing hint. Someone had stolen Sonny's coveted stash of rare gold coins, pilfered during an infamous train robbery. I just wanted to see if he'd take the bait and admit to the heist. Bill later confessed to Nathan, his voice heavy with regret. Instead, Sonny outsmarted him, proving he'd already planted loyal allies in Hope Valley to reclaim his loot. The gold coins in question weren't just any treasure. They were a haul of rare, shimmering pieces snatched during a brazen train robbery years ago. Though suspicion always pointed to Sonny and his gang, hard evidence eluded the authorities. Bill's ploy was meant to provoke a confession, but Sonny had other plans. His escape wasn't impulsive. It was a meticulously crafted scheme weeks in the making. Central to his plot was his cousin, Woody Garrison, a wiry man with a deceptive smile who arrived in Hope Valley under the guise of a nature enthusiast. "I've always loved these woods," Woody had said casually to passers-by, binoculars dangling from his neck. In truth, he was scouring the wilderness for Sonny's hidden treasure, a chest of coins stashed in a spot only Sonny once knew. The problem? Sonny's memory of the exact hiding place had faded, and Woody wasn't much help. "I told him I don't know these trees from a hole in the ground," Woody muttered to Sonny later, frustration evident. Sonny's ace in the hole was an outdated map, its creased lines and faded ink a relic of better days. But navigating the dense forest proved too much for the two men alone. Enter Woody's next move, enlisting the help of two unsuspecting Hope Valley children, Allie and Oliver, who'd been surveying the area for a school project. Woody approached the kids with a fabricated tale, spinning a yarn about his parents, carving their initials into a tree decades ago. "It's where they fell in love," he said, his voice dripping with false nostalgia as he flashed the map. "X marks the spot. Can you help me find it?" Allie, ever the romantic, beamed at the idea. "That's so sweet," she exclaimed, tugging Oliver along. Oliver, sharper and more cautious, narrowed his eyes. "Something's off about this guy," he whispered to Allie, but her enthusiasm and Woody's insistence dragged him into the woods anyway. The situation escalated when Sonny joined Woody, revealing the truth. The tree was a lie, and the real goal was the gold. Armed with pistols, the men coerced the children deeper into the forest far from town, where no one suspected trouble. Woody wavered when he learned Oliver was a Mountie cadet. "This is too far, Sonny," he protested, shifting nervously. But Sonny, his eyes cold, snapped, "We're in it now, keep moving." The kids, terrified yet resourceful, were forced to decipher the map and hunt for the loot. Meanwhile, Back in Hope Valley, Elizabeth Thornton and Rosemary Coulter were unraveling a separate mystery, Ava, the enigmatic newcomer posing as an heiress. Their investigation revealed Ava's true past. She'd been an assistant to Clive Maxwell, a flamboyant mentalist who dazzled audiences with fake seances. Ava's role: siphoning secrets from the crowd to feed Clive's visions. Their scam took a dark turn when Clive robbed a Pinkerton agent during a performance, pinning the blame on Ava. She fled, landing in Hope Valley with a fabricated identity. "I never meant to hurt anyone," Ava tearfully admitted to Mike and Lee, whom she'd charmed into trusting her. Elizabeth and Rosemary urged her to turn herself in. "You can't clear your name on the run," Elizabeth said gently. Ava nodded, resolve hardening. She'd face the Pinkertons and force Clive to answer for his crimes.